Alright guys, welcome back to Elden Ring. We're starting off this episode at the doorstep of Carian Manor. We ran through this area briefly just to complete steps for Selen's questline, but now we're going to properly go through and loot what's left. Now whatever build you're running, you're definitely going to want fire damage, so I'm putting on some volcano pots, and of course I have my dual whip set up with the magma whip candlestick and the giant's red braid. You'll see these ominous looking hands. We've already touched on this before. They're called finger creepers. And a lot of them love to ambush you. The game puts a shiny out there and wants you to run towards it. But if you do, this finger creeper will jump down on you. So we're just going to get it off the wall and then finish it off. But I'll show you guys an easier method. You don't have to use magma whips special to take them out. All it takes is 2 swipes. We'll usually open with a jumping attack and then follow through with an R1 and it will take them out. Now over here you'll find a cookbook. This is a very important cookbook for one of the game's most difficult bosses. You'll definitely want to get this. There's just some cannon fodder over here and over here. Just watch out for these sword traps. Now over here, I found an easy way to kind of get a leg up on a little bit of an ambush. If you come over here, you can throw a volcano pot and take out the majority of these enemies down here. But if you don't buff, you're probably not going to take out the finger creeper in one fell swoop. So I recommend to go ahead and buff with Golden Vow and Howl of Shaviri. A few accurate throws will take out all of your problems down there. Finger creeper down, and there's a group of small finger creepers right here. Another well-timed throw. And they're gone. Now there is a scarab here you'll want to take out. If you still have the buff active, you can one-shot it. Otherwise, it'll take 2 bolts. You want to stick to the right, and over here is a shield. Now here's how you're going to properly take out the finger creepers, the large ones. Just do a jumping attack, and then follow up with one R1, and it's gone. But be wary of the small finger creepers that are in the ground. This area is absolutely littered with them. Usually the game will put an item or even a herb on top of them. Just like that. We can use the crossbow to take out the majority of the small ones. They'll get one-shotted with no buffs active. And we're not going to deal with all of the finger creepers because there's just too many of them and the rewards are not worth it. We're just going for the main items. So if you want to explore the area to the left over here, be my guest. We're only focusing on the main items right now. Again, we're going to go with a jumping attack and follow up with an R1. To me, that's just the best strategy with our build to take them out. There are far more finger creepers in this area. As you see, we're just going to avoid them. Unless you just want the Somber 2s, because these guys drop them at an accelerated rate. Of course, we can buy them now. Doesn't matter. Of course, you could always buy them from E.G. when he was alive. But early game, easy way to farm them. A couple more small finger creepers and a big one here. Now this one, we can't really jump into him right now without taking damage, so we're just going to throw a volcano pot to soften him up and then finish him off. This area is pretty much clear, except for all those unnecessary battles that you probably want to avoid. The next big item we're going to collect is the Sword of Night and Flame. We're not going to use it for our build, but as I've said before, I'm trying to get everything as I possibly can in this playthrough. Once you get to the top of these stairs, just turn around and go behind this table, and you'll get a Smithing Stone 4. Now, we ran through this area earlier and ran past all these knights, and we didn't go to the left, but now we're going to go to the left instead of straight. And I do recommend taking these guys out because they'll throw magic at you, these magic stones, and they'll home in on you. There's the area we're going down right there. But before dropping down, make sure you get the rune arc. But don't stick around here too long because there's more enemies coming in. I usually just take out this guy and then make a run for it. More are on the way. You'll need to drop down one more time. And down in this secret room is your Sword of Night and Flame. Very popular weapon, but again, it doesn't fit our build. And you can open up this door, and you're back in the courtyard. Now we want to go back to that grace where we killed that boss, Loretta. The Royal Moon-Gazing Grounds. You'll want to turn around and go this way. We came this way earlier to pick up a cracked pot, but now we're going to get through the rest of the area. You'll just want to take a quick right. Don't aggro the enemies to the left. Make sure you have some kind of strike dealing damage weapon because the pots down here are weak to strike damage. But luckily for us, our whip does strike damage. I try to do a plunge attack on this one down here, but I miss. But you'll still have time to run over here and take out this big one. The jumping attack is sufficient enough to take out the big guys. Then you'll want to drop down and take out a couple more. Then you'll come down here. There's going to be a big pot to the left, small one right here. Actually, there's two big pots here, so just do jumping attacks to one-shot them. Once your pot-killing massacre is over, you'll need to drop down one more time. And head to that shiny over here. You'll get the Ash of War. Now we're going to go back to that same grace and head into the Three Sisters. We're going to mark some spots on the map here because there is a scarab right over here, right there. And then we're going to come over here to get another item, and over here is a boss. We're going to do all these areas before moving on. I do not recommend taking the road because there are dogs and sorcerers that are invisible like they were in the King's Realm. So just stick to the left and avoid the unpleasantries. We can take out the scarab and then just go straight to the grace. There's also some skeletons on the road as well. You can sneak up behind the scarab. And you'll get Frozen Armament, another buff for our whip. Now we can do frostbite damage. There'll be a grace right here, and we're going to sit at it because we need to prep for the boss. We need fire damage, so we're going to go with our physics flask, which is strength and fire. Since strength scales, fire scales with strength. Now if you head over here to our next marker in this graveyard, you'll get your reward for the painting that you found in the Artist Shack in Liurnia of the Lakes. It's an armor set. And there's also some ashes that you'll want to pick up, guarded by these albinurics. We're just going to pick it up and run. There are more albinurics on the way. And fittingly enough, these are the albinuric ashes. Now we're just going to head to the boss. This is another one of those alabaster lords which will not stand an ounce of a chance with our build. We're going to use our Magma Whip candlestick, and it will only take 2 swipes with our whip, and the first swipe should stun it long enough to get the second swipe. Once you get that second swipe, it's over. Our usual buffs, and drink our physics flask. Just run up and use the Sea of Magma. You see it stunned one more time, and game over. We're done with this area for now. We're going back one more time to this same grace. And to close out this area, we're going to get a stone sword key that's guarded by a giant crab. And then we'll move on to the next section. We're going to put on the cat ring since we do not want to take damage in these episodes if we can help it. We are going to have one particular fall that will give you fall damage. We went here before to kill the Puppet Master. Well, we didn't kill him, his puppets did. These drops will not give you fall damage. The final drop that we do in this area will give you fall damage. Now we missed a spell-proof liver down here, so we'll grab it. This is where you had saw the Puppet Master meet his demise, and his body is still down here, with his puppets towering over him. Here's the drop that will give you fall damage. We'll just need to drop down here to these platforms, turn around and get the slumbering egg, and we'll do just one jump attack to take out the crab. And we'll be using this stone sword key later in the episode, so nice addition here. Now, the next thing we're going to do is start Hyetta's questline. Technically, we've already started it with Irina, killing Irina's father, and all that. So, we need to go to the lake-facing cliffs side of Grace and go back into Stormville Castle, but briefly. This is where you're meant to come out for the first time. Grab the Shabiri grape, which of course are human eyeballs. we'll need 3 of them, and we already have 2 now. Plus, we'll need the finger grape, which you already have as well.
Hello, my name is Hyetta. If I might be so, did you need any? My eyesight is when I
Give her the grape, and you'll get a gesture,
now I can feel
as you
this kind of
wish.
a blessing.
Now we need to go to our next grace, which is the Liurnia of the Lakes Merchant area right here. And we're going to get some bolt killing power here because there are many of these militiamen hidden out in these ambush sections in this forested area, and we're just going to take them all out without them ever seeing us. So both arrow talismans. And we're going to be using the jar cannon soon as well. But we're going to get a Firemonk prayer book in this area. That's where we're mainly going in this area for. You can take the Spirit Spring up. That was the jail that we did at the end of the last episode, so head this way. Get off Torrent right here. And start sniping. There's one in front of you. You'll go in a little bit and you'll turn right. There's another one. And there's 2 more right here. Then move up just a little bit and turn left, and there's another one. All these ambush opportunities they want to do to you right here. But we're not done yet. There's 2 more here. And now the area is clear. But there are 2 more militiamen in the next section, but let's go ahead and get this Trina's Lily. There's 2 more right here. We could just shoot them right off of Torrent. Now this next section can be a little tricky. We're going to use the jar cannon. Of course, you don't have to engage with this group of enemies, but of course we're going to take them out. We don't want them to interrupt us going into the camp. I like to use my buffs. Our main objective is the main Firemonk, but we can get some penetration with our Ballista Bolt and take out a couple of more of his minions with 1 shot. But we definitely want to take the main guy out. And we did. Now I was trying to get cheeky and take 2 or 3 out here, and I failed miserably, but you can just kill him any way you want. I ended up taking only 1 out here. But you can get 2 for 1. Possibly 3 for 1. But my aim is terrible, so had to settle for 1. We'll just finish these guys off. And now we want to headshot and make sure you're buffed here for this guy. You want to headshot this guy. Definitely one-shot him, because if you don't kill him, he'll come at you, of course, and his minions will be alerted as well. But if you kill him, his minions will not be alerted. Now we want to use unseen form and just run up on the final enemies here in the camp. Just run up to this little fire area. 1 flame dance later, and they're toast. Make sure to get the fire prayer book here, the monk's prayer book. Firemonk's prayer book. Some dappled cure meat hidden there in the tent. Now, our next objective is the Liurnia Highway South side of Grace. And we're going to do some changes here. We want to make sure that we have our grafted dragon here. But we're also going to be using Arbalest. And we're going to use our jar for the first time on our head. I mentioned that the gift from Alexander will give you more damage to your pot throws. I tried this area without it, and it didn't take out the enemies. However, if you have the pot head on with your buffs, you will be able to take out this camp with relative ease. I marked a space on the map that is guarded by a troll, a broken down carriage, and we'll get a spear down there. But first, let's go ahead and loot this camp. The only thing in this camp are flowers, the golden flowers that are usually by Uld trees. Pretty close farm if you want to get them. Now here, there are multiple enemies, right? So you of course want to take out the flag guy first. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to put on the jar to get extra pot throwing damage. We're going to snipe the flag guy. The enemies will come to investigate. Once they cluster up, we're going to throw one volcano pot and take out 3 enemies at once. They'll come in to investigate. Just throw a pot, volcano pot, and they'll die. Now we just have 2 enemies left and we can just snipe them. Here's all those tarnished golden sunflower flowers. You'll see a troll up ahead. Of course, you know what we're going to do. Get under his legs as best as you can and use the Grafted Dragon's Bear Witness. And it will all but kill him. If it doesn't kill him, he'll be literally 0 health, hardly. We didn't quite, well, yeah we did. The fire on the ground took him out. And you'll get the Treespear he was guarding. Now we're on our way to get our next Shaburi grape. It's guarded inside of a camp. And we need to meet Hyetta again and give it to her. So we're going to mark where Hyetta is right there. But we're headed towards that Purified Ruins. And I'm also going to mark our next dungeon location, Catacombs location. But you'll also notice that I put on some regular fire pots earlier. There's a reason for this. If you use the bow or crossbow or any other kind of projectile in this camp, the enemies will be all alerted to your presence, including a dog and his minions, and we just don't want to deal with that. So by using the fire pots, for whatever reason, it one-shots them and it doesn't alert anything to their presence. So we want to make sure we do that. You can kill these groups of marionette soldiers if you want to. I'll demonstrate here how you can just get close to them and throw a volcano pot. Usually takes out most of them. Or you can use the Glintstone Kris and get penetration with that. But a well-timed couple of throws and they're no more. I do have the Beast Torch equipped because there are dogs about. One to the left over there. But you want to come over here to engage this camp. The Purified Ruins. If you jump up here on this rock, throw one fire pot down here, drop down after taking out the second guy. There are 4 total down here. And we'll backstab the one that has the horn. But for whatever reason, he doesn't hear anything. I tried this with the crossbow and it didn't work. Tried it with the Glintstone Kris, it didn't work. But for some reason, the fire pots did work. So now all we have is a dog and another enemy here. Sometimes you can get 2 for 1 with a throw, but it didn't work for me. This area is clear, but now we need to get the Shabiri grape, so in the area you're still in, break down these boards. You'll also get a talisman down here. We now have all of the Shabiri grapes that we need to finish Hyetta's questline. Remember, we already have the fingerprint grape from when we went to the Church of Inhibition, and that will be the final grape that Hyetta asks for. But we are going to put a pause on her questline after we give her the grapes, because we can't finish it until we get into Lindell. That's going to be quite a while. But here is Hyetta. Don't go too far into that other area in the water, because there is a lobster that will annihilate you.
You'll not likely rest there howling their frail foot you. You are mostly the blessing.
Now we're going to go to our next catacomb area. We've already marked it on the map. Now you'll have to drop down a cliff, and it's pretty, not really difficult, but I recommend doing it without torrent. It's just a lot easier. And this catacombs is absolutely filled to the brim with imps and omens. But we already know how to deal with both, so we're all good. Here is where you'll need to drop down. I'm going to put on the cat ring just for safety. Sometimes I miss a jump and take fall damage. But you'll just need to very gingerly step off. This is the hardest jump right here. The rest we can just use the cat ring. And we're conveniently right at the entrance. We're now in the Cliffbottom Catacombs. Now we will want to retool here at the Grace. We need to memorize a spell that we don't have on our bar at the moment. And we need to redo our physics flask. So you want to make sure you have the Blood Flame Blade for sure. And for our physics flask, the Magic and the Dexterity tiers. For our equipment, you'll want Nox Flowing Sword. You'll definitely need the Cestus. And Glintstone Crisp for sure. Now I'm going to demonstrate how good this torch is for lighting up areas while I'm at it. And you'll also want the Axe Talisman for now. But using the Ghost Flame Torch, you can just see how bright it makes the area. Very useful for spotting sneaky imps in these areas. Right here, do a charged attack. If you don't do a charged attack with the Glintstone Crisp, this imp will dodge it every single time for some reason. Then come over here and use your Nox Flowing Sword to take out this sleeping imp. But yeah, you have to use a charged attack if you want to one-shot that imp. Keep your Nox Flowing Sword handy because there's an imp that's going to charge you right here. Just go ahead and start revving up. Now get Glintstone Crisp out. And we're going to one-shot this imp. You don't need to charge this one. Now here is an example of a sneaky imp that we can see hanging on the ceiling there. We're just going to back up and one-shot him. You could use the trap if you want to. And then come over here and take out another imp that's on patrol. He'll just stop for some reason. Now here's where you'll need to use a buff. For this particular omen, you'll need to buff here, because he is not going to be backstabbed. The other ones are going to be backstabbed, this one will not. So we need a little extra help to bleed him. He's on his back, so we can't really backstab him. But if you get 2 more shots in after the initial attack, you'll take him out. Now this area is tricky. There are imps above our head, but we want to engage this omen without the imps pelting us from above, so just do as I do here. We're going to follow this omen into this room. He'll turn around and go into the room. Wait till he does that. Backstab him. And 1 charged R2 and he's over. He'll always bleed out. So 1 backstab, 1 charged R2. You'll do 2 jabs and it'll be over. Now sometimes the imps will jump down at this point. Sometimes one will jump right here. I was kind of waiting for that. He didn't do it. So he'll just come up here and take them out. But sometimes they'll get angry and jump down after you. Now we're going to use that stone sword key that we got earlier. Put it to good use here. But before going in, there's an imp waiting to ambush. There are 2 more imps here. 1 on the wall, you can just shoot him from here. There's 1 on the right. Don't trigger the trap, but sneak a little bit over to the left and you'll be able to take him out. He might charge you if you get too close. Now before dropping down, there's 1 more room here. 3 imps. We can just take them out with the Glintstone Kris. 1's on the wall up top. You'll get the scythe. Now it's time for some more omens. We're going to drop down. This is the area we were earlier, but we didn't drop down. But now we will. The same as before. Backstab, follow up with the R2. They'll die every time. We're not even using the dagger talisman. 1-2, bleed every time. You'll come over here and deal with another one. Backstab. As he's getting up, R2. Done. You'll get the prattling pate. Wonderful. This next omen is a cakewalk because we're going to use a trap to kill him. He just stands there and takes it. It'll take 2 triggers of the trap. We have another omen to take out up here. We're just going to rebuff. It won't wear out by the time we get to the ladder, to the top. I just hadn't found a better way to take out these guys. It's just too easy. You'll get the Page Ashes. Now for the boss fight. We're going to 2-shot this boss with the Glintstone Kris. No muss, no fuss. Because I really hate these Erd Tree burial dogs. They're just so annoying. There's no gimmick to this one except magic damage. And that's what we're going to use against it. Is magic. I thought it would have some kind of resistance, but 2 shots over with. We'll just buff as usual and make sure to drink our physics flask. going to put on some extra talismans, though. The magic talisman and Godfrey icon. You don't even have to take one step into the arena. As soon as you get through the fog wall, just start charging up. You might have to dodge one projectile attack, but even though it won't even kill you, even if you get hit. And that's this area done. Easy peasy. We're going to our next location, the Liurnia Highway north side of Grace now. Now there is a big battle going on just up the road. So we're going to let Lieutenant have some fun. And we're going to use the distraction to take out the troll with little to no effort. It's actually a pretty good idea to use the Nox Flowing Sword on this enemy. I found it stuns them after a couple hits and you can just do a critical. But we're going to just use the distraction and use the Grafted Dragon. But I would recommend staying to the left. Sometimes this troll will drop his sword as well. He didn't drop for any here. But you want to walk up until you get the icon right there. Summon in Lieutenant. I'm going to give her a bit of a buff as well. We're just waiting for the troll to come in and have some fun at first. He'll be distracted by the battle at first. He'll run in most of the time. But Lieutenant's going to be pelting him. He's actually got his eyes on us right now. But we want to bring him into Lieutenant, though. He wasn't really distracted by Lieutenant as much as I had hoped. But easy enough. If you want to use darkness, you can here, just to make sure they don't hit you, but it's not necessary. They're distracted by each other, so you can just come in and steal the kills. Once the area is clear, you can get to your next Grace and talk to Hyetta again and break the unfortunate news to her that what she's been eating this entire time are actually human eyeballs. She will not take it very well and start hurling. After she's vomited, you can sit at the Grace and talk to her again. This will move her to her next location, Bellum Church. And that will effectively end our questline for her for the time being. As I said before, we can't complete it until we get to Lindell. And we want to do this side quest at the very end of the playthrough. Pretty much at the end. So we're putting it off. We are going to do it because we want to have all of the ending options available. Near the end of the playthrough.
Hello? Would you do me? I'm on a pilgrimage.
Because we have to be able to enter Crumbling Farum Azula at some point. But we're going to use ourselves as kindling. And spare Melina. She's going to be sick and start vomiting now. You'll start to hear her vomit. There she goes. Now sit at the Grace. Talk to her one more time.
I've gleaned some reason. The distant light, so faint it covered everyone's. Finally, I'm certain now.
When she says she will be a finger maiden, then we can go to our last part. But now, we're going to do a little detour here. We're going to go back to the lakes, and we're going to kill a Death Rite bird. We've never fought one of these before, but their weakness remains the same. They're weak to holy damage. And holy pots absolutely nuke them, so that's what we're going to use. Plus we have our new toy, our jar that we're going to put on our head for even more damage. We'll pretty much one-shot it. It'll be literally dead. We'll take 2 throws, however. A quick way to get there is come over here and just jump to this rock spire here. But don't jump too far to the other side because there's a rune bear and he will chase you all the way to the grace. But as long as you stick to that side, you won't alert the bear. I've marked 2 locations on the map here. The second location right here is where the Death Rite bird will spawn. But we're headed to the grace right now so that we can pass time into night and redo our setup for the Death Rite bird. So as per usual, you'll want to put in your faith and your holy shrouding crystal tears. We'll pass time into nightfall. Redo our talisman setup to make sure that we do as much damage to this boss as humanly possible. For whatever reason, you can't summon for these fights. We're going to use the jellyfish shield because we're doing pot throwing setups. The axe talisman and the sacred scorpion charm. And I usually get 3 or 4 pots, holy pots, in case you miss a throw or 2. But if you connect with two of them, you're going to kill it. Plus we're going to put on our jar head. It's going to be pretty much the norm now when we're using our pot throwing setups. So we're going to go ahead and buff here. Jellyfish shield active. Just target the head as it spawns in. Kind of run up to it a little bit. Make sure you're going to get a headshot and look at that damage. It's practically dead in the beginning. Game over. Now, we're going to go get a very suspiciously hidden spell in Lair of the Lakes that we missed before. I didn't even know this thing was hidden like this, but it's just inside a regular enemy. You wouldn't think about it, but yeah. So go to the Artist Shack. We're going to mark it on the map. That's where your enemy is right there. We'll go ahead and collect that before heading to the study hall. But we've been here before when we raided the camp for the Flame Cleanse Me incantation way, way, way early on in the playthrough. You'll want to kill these slugs, however, because you won't be able to warp with them alive. If you tried to warp now, you wouldn't be able to. But you'll get the Briars of Sin spell there. Just kill these enemies. Now, you can go ahead and teleport. And we're going to go to the study hall. Alright guys, let's go over this. This is a very difficult section to do properly. So what you need to do is have a rot pot available. This is your contingency plan in case you don't get the backstab. You'll need the Dagger Talisman and the Rot Exaltation Talisman. You're going to have Mesericord. Our objective here is to throw a rot pot at the sorcerer that will annoy you for 3 floors if you don't take him out immediately. Generally, most people don't take him out right away because he's got a lot of health and he teleports immediately after you start doing physical damage to him. What you want to do is throw a rot pot at him initially. Get a backstab if you can. If you get the backstab, he's all but finished. If you don't get the backstab, he'll still die to the rot. You'll just have to wait a while. You might have to hit him once or twice if you didn't get the backstab, though. But the rot will take him down to nearly nothing. You'll need Royal Knight's Resolve. As soon as he spawns, throw a rot pot. If you can get a backstab as he's revving up one of his arrows, then it's pretty much over. But we're going to just go ahead and finish him now before he can even get away. If you get the backstab, you can finish him off with the Flame Dance, like I did there. Now, that was a very complicated set of events there. It's not the easiest thing to pull off, but it is possible, as you can see. I was testing out my Arbalest damage here. It didn't do as much damage as I would hoped to these guys. I was just going to snipe them all from distance. But I found out that it took 2 shots for some reason. We need to get to the top of this area. If you didn't take out that sorcerer right away, he's going to harass you, much like the Crystal Sorcerer did in Dark Souls 3 in the Duke's Archives. It's very annoying to deal with. But now we don't have to deal with it. But like I said, if you get the throw off and he's rotted, and it will only take 1 pot, direct hit, then he'll die on his own, especially if you can get another couple of hits in before he teleports away. He'll be all but finished. So spawn killing him like we did isn't necessarily going to happen every time. You'll want to make sure you have your Beast Torch available, because on the rafters there are many rats, and you just don't want to deal with that and get knocked off the rafters. But on your way to the ladder, you'll still get ambushed by many of these phantom enemies coming in. I thought with the arrow talisman would certainly take them out, but it still didn't take them out. I'm still working on ways to optimize my bolt damage, but still not there yet. Might have to go into the DLC later. There are more talismans that will upgrade your arrow damage and bolt damage if you go into the DLC. I'm not sure yet, though. There are many great talismans you can get early on in the DLC. But I'm undecided. We're just going to ignore this last enemy and go to the rafters. As long as you have the Beast Torch equipped, the rats will not pose a threat to you. We're just looking for the ladder that goes up. This will take us to a talisman. The Carian Seed Talisman. And it's over there. You don't even have to engage with the rats at all, really. As long as you have that Beast Torch equipped, they won't even touch you. And then we're going to go to our next section. We're going to go ahead and go to the Bellum Church. We're going to kill a Knight's Cavalry and go ahead and finish off the dialogue for Hyetta to get her to move to Lindell. We'll need holy damage for the Knight's Cavalry, and we'll need the Sacred Blade on our falchion. That's all we'll really need. Dagger Talisman, if we want to one-shot the... well, do as much damage to the Knight's Cavalry once he's on the ground. She'll ask for a fingerprint grape, which we've already got. Give it to her. Wait till she says, I will be a finger maiden. Now she will move to Lindell. Now, go to the left. All the way to the left. Ignore all the enemies that are about. There's some camped out over by that huge structure. We don't want to deal with it, and we don't need to. We will take out a knight on horseback, though, because he's blocking our way to the Knight's Cavalry. And here he is. Always target the horse. Always. take the horse out, and he's ripe for a critical. It's the same thing we're going to do with the Knight's Cavalry, albeit with a few more buffs. He's on patrol right here. Go ahead and start buffing right here. Make sure to drink the physics flask for extra holy damage. Target the horse. I missed my second Sacred Blade. I could have downed it pretty quickly, but I missed the second one. Right here I miss, but as long as you get the second one off, and he's done. Now for another section that we didn't go to before. The Uld Ruins. The easiest way to get here, in my opinion, is just to go to the last grace we were at. Well, the Eastern Tabernacle. Actually, we didn't go to this grace. This is the one that's closest to the study hall. Now, I still don't understand this concealing veil. It seems to only work if you're on the same level as the enemies. Because I thought I could use this against the snipers that are ahead of me, above me. But it didn't work. They could always see me. And I was like, well, what's the purpose of this talisman then? But then I used it against other enemies that were on the same level as I was. And it worked. So it just doesn't work for enemies that are above your head. I'm marking 2 locations on the map here. There's 2 items in the Uld Ruins we're after, and they're going to be marked right there. Do not go to the left on that road, because there is a rune bear over there, and unless you like dealing with rune bears, then I suggest sticking to this side. We will have to run from a rune bear at the end of the episode, but it's fine. And take out this enemy here. And now we're in the Uld Ruins. There are snipers about, and they're very, very deadly with their arrows. Those arrows do so much incredible damage, it's unbelievable. The dwelling arrows that they shoot, you do not want to get hit by them. So, like I said, the Concealing Veil will do next to nothing against these enemies. Even if they don't see you right away from shooting another enemy, they will always know where you are. So this enemy is already aware of us. Just do an accurate shot with the jar cannon. It's the best way to deal with these guys. Now, even though the Concealing Veil didn't work for us before, it will come in handy up here. There are multiple enemies about. You can actually get even closer to them, but the reason I'm not getting close is there is another sniper on the left with dwelling arrows, and you want to stay out of their line of sight. But you can take out all 3 of them from here. And then deal with the snipers. We're going to use this pillar ahead as cover. They've already knocked an arrow. Use the reloads to take advantage. It doesn't take them long to reload though, so be quick. Behind this statue, you'll find some more tarnished golden sunflowers. There's one more sniper here. We're going to get off torrent and just fire another shot. And this area is pretty much clear. There's a few more enemies about, but they're spread out. We're just going to get the items here. There's a grace right here. The path forward is ahead of us, but we're going to go off the beaten path a little bit because there's a frenzy stone over here. Now we're going to go to that path that we skipped. You'll find wandering mausoleums about. There's a couple of them that jump up in the air really high and do some AoE effects, so you can take damage, so be wary of that. But for the most part, we're steering clear of them. I was just trying to find the passage, and there it is. You'll want to stick to the left. Go up this hill, and you'll find your first item. A shield of sorts. Look at that jump. Boy, he's got some hang time on him. We're going to cross the area and go up the other ramp. You'll turn around and you'll find another grace. We're going to follow the marker that we made to get to the next item. A talisman. Kind of well hidden, this area. You want to go through this hole. There's some Miquela's lilies about. We're going to drop down, and there's some Trina's lilies we want to get, and some Arturia leaves. However, if you want the Arturia leaves, you're going to have to deal with a rune bearer that is not happy that you woke him up from his nap, and he will chase you to the ends of the earth until you're dead. But luckily, we managed to get away from the rune bearer. But we're going to snipe these enemies from afar with the jar cannon. There are 3 of them. For some reason, this bolt didn't go through. One Trina's lily? I did all that for one Trina's lily. Well, they are going to come in handy later. Now, if you really want it, you can go down here and get the Arturia leaves. But like I said, you will be chased by this rune bearer. You could use a sleep pod if you wanted to, but it's not worth the sleep pod investment. Grab it and just run away. And hopefully the bear doesn't grab you and kill you. But the faster you get away, the better. Now, to close out the episode, we're going to go to a rise. Or actually, it's a tower. So we're going back to the Bellum Highway. And we're going to mark this on our map. But we have to put on one of the glintstone crowns. So we got to dig it out of our box before moving into the area. And as before with these puzzles, you have to do the erudition gesture, but this time you have to do it with the glintstone crown on your head. So we're going to put it on our head and do our gesture. And the seal will be broken. There's one more enemy on the way to the top. You can ignore it if you want to, but we're going to kill it. It's one of those graven school ball things. but we can spawn kill it. We're just going to use Flame Dance. And we'll get our spells at the top. And that will be the episode, guys. We're pretty much done with Liurnia of the Lakes. Pretty much. We need to do one more section, though. A rise in the alternate version of the village of the Albinaurics. Moonlight Altar. And then we'll move on to our next region, Caelid. See you guys in the next one.